The name conjures images of a powerful queen, a skilled diplomat, and a captivating woman. Her story is one of political intrigue, passionate love affairs, and ultimately, tragic loss. As the last pharaoh of ancient Egypt, Cleopatra's reign marked the end of an era, closing the chapter on a civilization that had thrived for millennia. Cleopatra's life has been the subject of countless books, plays, and films, each offering a different interpretation of her character and motivations. Was she a ruthless manipulator who used her beauty to gain power, or a shrewd ruler who fought to protect her kingdom from Roman domination? The truth, as is often the case, lies somewhere in between. Cleopatra was a product of her time, a woman of extraordinary intelligence and ambition who navigated the treacherous waters of Roman politics with remarkable skill. She understood the power of image and cultivated an aura of mystique that captivated some of the most powerful men in the world. Yet, she was also a devoted mother, a patron of the arts, and a ruler who genuinely cared for her people. Her story is a reminder that history is rarely black and white, and that even the most iconic figures were complex individuals with their own hopes, dreams, and regrets. To understand Cleopatra, one must first understand the world into which she was born. Cleopatra VII was the last of the Ptolemaic dynasty, a Greek family that had ruled Egypt for nearly 3 centuries. The Ptolemies were descendants of Ptolemy I Soter, a Macedonian general who had seized control of Egypt following the death of Alexander the Great. The Ptolemies were a cosmopolitan dynasty, embracing both Greek and Egyptian culture. They built magnificent temples, libraries, and palaces, transforming Alexandria into one of the greatest intellectual and cultural centers of the ancient world. However, their rule was also marked by internal strife, political intrigue, and increasing pressure from a rising power to the west, Rome. By the time Cleopatra was born in 69 BC, the Ptolemaic kingdom was in decline. The pharaohs had grown weak and decadent, more concerned with courtly pleasures than with the affairs of state. Egypt, once a mighty empire, had become a client state of Rome, its fate resting in the hands of ambitious Roman generals. It was into this world of uncertainty and intrigue that Cleopatra VII, the future queen of Egypt, was born. Cleopatra's early life was marked by tragedy and upheaval. Her father, Ptolemy XII, was a weak ruler who fled Egypt in 58 BC after an uprising. Cleopatra, just 11, witnessed the chaos firsthand. Ptolemy XII regained his throne with Roman help, but remained weak. He left the kingdom to Cleopatra and her brother, Ptolemy XIII. Their joint reign was fraught with tension and rivalry. Cleopatra, ambitious and intelligent, chafed under her brother's rule. In 48 BC, she fled Egypt after a power struggle. Cleopatra raised an army in exile to reclaim her throne. Fate had other plans. A powerful Roman general arrived in Alexandria. His name was Julius Caesar, and his arrival would change Cleopatra's life forever. In 48 BC, Julius Caesar arrived in Alexandria, pursuing his rival Pompey the Great in the throes of a Roman civil war. Caesar, a shrewd strategist and master politician, immediately grasped the significance of the conflict brewing between Cleopatra and Ptolemy XIII. Legend has it that Cleopatra, aware of Caesar's reputation for appreciating beauty and intellect, had herself smuggled into his presence rolled up in a carpet. Whether or not this story is true, it is clear that Cleopatra made a strong impression on Caesar. He agreed to support her claim to the throne and ordered Ptolemy XIII to negotiate a settlement. The ensuing conflict, known as the Alexandrian War, saw Caesar's forces battling against those of Ptolemy XIII. The war culminated in a decisive Roman victory, securing Cleopatra's position as the sole ruler of Egypt. Ptolemy XIII drowned in the Nile River while attempting to escape, and Cleopatra consolidated her power, ruling alongside her younger brother Ptolemy XIV, who was just a child. Cleopatra's alliance with Caesar had profound consequences for both Egypt and Rome. For Cleopatra, it ensured her survival and cemented her position as the undisputed ruler of Egypt. For Caesar, it provided him with a valuable ally in the Eastern Mediterranean and access to Egypt's vast wealth and resources. A love story for the ages, Cleopatra and Mark Antony. Cleopatra's relationship with Caesar was more than just a political alliance. They became lovers, and Cleopatra gave birth to Caesar's son, Ptolemy XV Caesarion. After Caesar's assassination, Cleopatra found herself in a precarious position. She found an ally in Mark Antony, one of Caesar's trusted lieutenants. In 41 BC, Cleopatra met Antony in Tarsus, and their legendary love affair began. Antony, captivated by Cleopatra's beauty and charm, became her lover and ally. Their relationship was as much about politics as it was about passion. Cleopatra needed Antony's military might to secure her kingdom. Antony needed Egypt's wealth to fund his campaigns. Their relationship profoundly impacted Roman history. Cleopatra was a woman of many facets. She was a shrewd politician, a skilled diplomat, and a ruthless leader when necessary. She was also a passionate lover, a devoted mother, and a patron of the arts and sciences. Cleopatra was fluent in several languages, including Egyptian, which no other Ptolemaic ruler had bothered to learn. She was renowned for her intelligence and wit, and her company was sought after by the most influential figures of the day. She was also a shrewd businesswoman, taking a personal interest in trade and commerce, and ensuring that Egypt's coffers remained full. As a mother, Cleopatra was devoted to her children, especially Caesarion, whom she believed to be the rightful heir to both Egypt and Rome. She instilled in her children a love of their Egyptian heritage and a sense of their royal destiny. Cleopatra's court was a center of learning and culture, where scholars, artists, and intellectuals from across the ancient world gathered. Cleopatra understood the power of image and cultivated a persona that was both alluring and intimidating. She presented herself as the embodiment of Isis, the Egyptian goddess of fertility, magic, and motherhood, further consolidating her power and legitimizing her rule. The alliance between Cleopatra and Mark Antony, while initially beneficial for both, ultimately proved to be their undoing. Antony's rival, Octavian, Caesar's adopted son and heir, used Antony's relationship with Cleopatra and his perceived abandonment of Roman values as a propaganda tool to turn the Roman people against him. In 31 BC, the conflict between Antony and Octavian culminated in the Battle of Actium, a naval engagement off the coast of Greece. The battle was a disaster for Antony and Cleopatra. Their fleet was routed, and they were forced to flee back to Egypt. Octavian, now the undisputed master of Rome, followed Antony and Cleopatra to Egypt, determined to crush his rival and claim Egypt for Rome. Antony, his forces depleted and his morale broken, committed suicide after receiving a false report of Cleopatra's death. Cleopatra, facing certain capture and humiliation at the hands of Octavian, chose to take her own life. The circumstances of her death are shrouded in mystery, but legend has it that she died from a venomous snake bite, a fitting end for the serpent of the Nile. With Cleopatra's death, the Ptolemaic dynasty came to an end after nearly 3 centuries of rule. Egypt, once a proud and independent kingdom, became a province of the Roman Empire, its vast wealth and resources flowing into Roman coffers. Cleopatra's death marked the end of an era, not just for Egypt, but for the Hellenistic world that had flourished in the wake of Alexander the Great's conquests. Octavian, soon to be known as Augustus, the first Roman emperor, returned to Rome in triumph, parading Cleopatra's captured children through the streets to the cheers of the Roman populace. He had avenged Caesar's death, consolidated his power, and ushered in a new era of Roman dominance that would last for centuries. Cleopatra's story, however, did not end with her death. She became a legend, her story told and retold through the ages, each generation adding its own interpretations and embellishments. To the Romans, she was a cautionary tale, a foreign seductress who had nearly toppled their republic. To later generations, she became a symbol of female power, a queen who had challenged the might of Rome and captivated the hearts of its most powerful men. In literature, art, and film, Cleopatra has been portrayed in countless ways, as a cunning temptress, a tragic heroine, a devoted mother, and a brilliant strategist. Her story continues to fascinate and inspire, a testament to the enduring power of her legend. Cleopatra VII was more than just a queen. She was a symbol of her age, a woman who navigated the treacherous currents of power with remarkable skill and determination. She was a product of her time, but also a woman who transcended it, becoming an icon whose story continues to resonate across the millennia.